Hey all, and welcome back to Borderlands 4. Today I have my gun damage Rafa build, which is an absolute machine at mobbing with basically any weapon. For bossing, it was originally pretty solid compared to my high-low build, but with two weapons in particular, it melts just as quickly, with a lot less setup as well. If you like these kinds of videos, by the way, 90% of you that are watching consistently aren't subscribed, and it would be cool if you were, so consider subscribing, it is much appreciated. Starting with the skill tree, the Vault Hunter trait is the biggest part of the build. It's called Overdrive. Basically, whenever you activate your action skill, you get increased movement speed and damage for the whole duration of it. Movement speed isn't big for us, but the damage of 10% is base and will get a lot bigger later on. Our action skill we're using is Peacebreaker Cannons. They're not as big as what I started them with. Originally, this was like a 50-50 action skill to gun damage, but we pulled back on action skill so we can use the biggest variety of weapons, but they still do pretty decent because we're converting a lot of our gun damage boosts into action skill via specialization later on. For our augment, we're only going to be using one at a time, but we're going to switch between two depending on if we're bossing or mobbing. For bossing, using Bullet Buddy Deluxe, the main things here are it will regen ammo to your magazine, and also if you reactivate your action skill via F if you're on keyboard, or I don't actually know what it is on controller. Reactivate your action skill, it will give you 8 seconds of unlimited ammo in whatever gun you are using, which is disgustingly good for bossing. You can use a Hellwalker with one shot in the mag and fire non-stop for 8 seconds. It's really, really good. And then for mobbing, we're going to be using Instant Tito, which basically increases your Peacebreaker Cannon's damage with crit chance, crit hit damage, but primarily you're going to add action skill duration with every kill, which is really, really good. It basically keeps up your action skill non-stop for the entire duration of any mobbing section in the game, whether it's a Ripper Drill site, whether you're for some reason replaying story missions. If there's mobs in front of you, there's no reason why your Instant Tito shouldn't keep your action skill up the entire time until you run out of enemies, which is really, really nice. Now, as for skill points spent, I changed this up so many times throughout the life of having this build, but I landed on these points. 5 in just straight up gun damage, 25% increase is nice. 5 points in whenever you hit a critical hit, it extends the action skill duration, which is again really good for mobbing. Honestly good for bossing as well if you haven't got quite down the super fast melt times yet. That will help you out. Now these last 4 points, I'll be honest, with the last 4 points I spent, and they can be moved. These 3 I think are good. It just increases your damage dealt across the board with all sources the fuller your shield are, and it's scale, so it's up to 30% if your shield is full, which I think is worth, but you can move them if you prefer something else. And the last point was, you can put this anywhere. I just chose damage reduction, which originally says 7.7%, but I will get into why that is so much higher for 1 point spent in a second. As you can see, it's an overdrive skill, so we'll pin that for a second. As for Blue Tree, we've got 5 points in ammo regen. It currently only says 2.5%, but again, it's an overdrive skill, which we will come back to. It's really nice. 5 points in fire rate, again, an overdrive skill. We got 4 points currently in gun handling. You can reduce this if you want. I like 4 because it keeps my gun handling like perfect the entire way through. I never spec gun handling in any other build, but because we lose a bunch of it really quickly later on in the tree, this kind of cancels it out. Then we put 1 point in having infinite ammo for 2 seconds whenever you activate or re-trigger an action skill. Is really nice in mobbing situations, because again, we get 8 seconds if we're bossing, but for mobbing it's still really nice, particularly if you're using low mag weapons. 5 points in critical hit chance, currently says 15%, but again, we'll come back. Overdrive skill. 5 points in another overdrive skill for increased gun damage, currently says 30. But then 5 points in, I believe it's pronounced Jack, apologies if I'm completely scuffing that, but this one is huge for our build. Whenever Rafa damages an enemy with a skill, he gains an increased stack. For every stack, he gains increased overdrive bonuses. Whenever overdrive ends, he loses all stacks. 20 max stacks, 2.5% increase to all overdrive bonuses. Everything I just said was an overdrive bonus as we're going through is boosted by this. 20 by 2.5 is a lot. Then 5 points in deadline, it's an overdrive skill again. It increases your fire rate and a reload speed by currently 15% or 25%. Now, before I fully explain the beauty and the insane strength behind the overdrive skills, I'm going to show you the class mod we have. It's called the Dancer. It is by far Rafa's best class mod, particularly for this build. Overdrive bonuses are increased by 100%. all of them. Then overdrive ends when Rafa's action skill ends, which basically means you do an insane amount of damage while your action skill is active and less when it's over, but we have a way to keep it up all the time. That is the class mode you're going for. If you want a bit like perfect god roll, you want 5 points on the skill on the left and 1 point on the skill on the right, and the green tree skill, it doesn't matter, get as many as you want. For the passive, anything with damage is great. I managed to roll action skill duration, which is really good for mobbing situations. Now, to show you what those actually do, in a red tree, the one that you want to try and get 5 points in, 4 is already a really, really good roll. It's an overdrive skill again, which increases your gun damage, but drastically reduces your gun handling. If you didn't have the points in gun handling over here, you straight up cannot fire like any flat off AR. It'll just shoot at the sky, it'll go everywhere, you will miss 90% of your shots. It's really, really bad. And then 1 point in the kill skill to double all overdrive bonuses for 8 seconds, which again, insanely strong for 1 point. Now, if you can't get a class mod that has a point in here, or if you can only get a couple in here, it'll still work really, really well. It's just if you want to go max damage, try to get a god roll with 5 in here and 1 in here is perfect. Now, the weird slash kind of annoying thing about rapid skill trees, you actually have to go out, shoot a bunch of mobs, and get your stacks up to properly show what you're really getting out of your overdrive bonuses in your skill tree. For example, the ammo regen isn't 2.5, it's 12.5. The fire rate adds up to 65% bonus fire rate. The crit hit chance, 75%, not 15. So you're hitting critical hits basically all the time, whether you aim properly or not, pretty much removing the necessity for a crit knife at all. Gun damage, 150 rather than 30%. This guy is insane, which is what we're stacking up. The fire rate, 75% via this, and reload 125. As for specializations, I'm currently missing 3 points to get what I really want, but so far we have Riddle You This for stacking gun damage up to 50%, which is really good. In the zone, again, stacks gun damage and crit hit damage the longer you're aiming down sight, which honestly I forget to do half the time, but it is really good when you do that. This one is huge for us though. Now with caffeine, reduce action skill cooldown whenever a rep kit is activated. This is how we get our action skill back all the time. In mobbing, if for some reason it runs out, you can just have this going constantly because we have a rep kit with 3 charges, which will get it back instantly. And then if I get 3 more points, I will put it in I am a gun instead of the bullet train, which puts 50% of all increases to gun damage into your action skill damage, which will make your piece breaker cannons fantastic across the board. It'll really help out for mobbing. They still do pretty decently, but yeah, we have a lot of gun damage increases, so that'll make them really strong. Now, as for the gear, starting with the rep kits, you want to go for a triple bypass. Like I said, this thing has 3 charges, so you can just hit yourself 3 times to get your action skill back instantly, which is really good. Also has a decent amount of healing. Otherwise, we have the shiny war paint for bossing, increases your fire rate and movement speed by 30%. For bossing is really nice. If you can roll and rage on it, again, really good, increases your damage dealt from all sources by 30%. The kill spring is also really good for mobbing. I use that for my Harlow build. I can use it on this one as well. If you're getting through an entire mobbing section without having to reactivate your action skill, I would say this one is a better choice than the triple bypass, because this is only really used for the amount of charges you get. This guy will give you more healing, not from an instant hit from you hitting your rep kit, but on kill converts 100% of all excess damage you dealt to that enemy into healing orbs that seek out and heal nearby allies, including your own Vault Hunter. For Ordnance, you really don't need the crit knife. I already had it, so I threw it on here, but you already hit 75% of critical hits, so it's kind of overkill. The Slippy, though, is a big recommendation from me. Getting from level 30 to 50 was a lot of fun using the Slippy. It's really strong against any enemy, but particularly good for vile enemies because it'll bounce and break all the crystals, which is really nice. For the class mod, like I said, the Dancer mod. For shields, we've got a few options. The Super Soldier we got last night increases your movement speed and fire rate by 25% if it is full, and then also regens ammo 1 ammo per second, which we already have enough ammo regen, but a good choice there. Also a decent capacity. Otherwise, I was just using a huge capacity purple shield, which is really good. Fireworks are really good for mobbing. You really don't need it because we're doing so much damage in mobbing, but if you want a little extra, that's good. The Onion Shield is also a good recommendation. We got one on level 36, which can roll the same missiles that the Fireworks has, but it doesn't come as standard, so it's harder to get. I didn't get a level 51, we don't need it, but this thing also has armor segment break, grants immunity for 2 seconds, so that is a huge survivability shield. if you want to try and get one at level 50. For enhancements, I'm still lacking because they're so hard to get in this game, but I'm still using the same one that was on my Harlow. Vladoff license parts increase fire rate by 20% and mag size by 20%. Just because I got good passives, this is the only one I've got the double gun damage and gun crit damage as a passive. Those are really good, but if you can get good passives on basically any enhancement, take it. It's really good. Then for firmware, we got 3 points in Deadeye for increased gun accuracy, gun critical hit damage by 25%, and then again more crit hit damage by 15% times 5 stacks. It's really good. And then 2 points in bullets to spare for a little extra fire rate, and mostly for the gun mag size by 20%. Depending on the gun, that is a lot of extra bullets. Now, as for weapons, there is a huge variety to choose from. My personal favorite for mobbing is a purple Buri SMG still. They're just so fun to use. I managed to get Jacob's parts with the 75% increased fire rate alt fire. The noise that comes from this thing with all the extra fire rate we have in this build is hilarious. You get a huge variety of them though. You can get Torg stickies on them. You can get increased fire rate with elementals. There's another one with COV mag. You get flamethrowers are pretty good. Now for legendaries, there's a few sniper options. The Midnight Defiance was a Twitch drop. This thing has a lot of ricochets and melts things. Managed to get one with Jacob's parts on it. The Triple XL, also insane. It's kind of like the Lyuda from Borderlands 3, but it is fire locked. Again, with having infinite ammo for 8 seconds, this thing, insane. Katagawa's Revenge is nowhere near as good as on Harlow because you're not proccing so much skill damage, but you can get an insane amount of orbs at once with 8 seconds of infinite fire. The Kaiozin, I still cannot get an elemental type, but it is a good weapon. The Onslaught has 17 bullets a second fire rate as standard before we boost it. That's really good. I only have radiation at the moment, but it comes in other elements. The Dark Beast is pretty good. I'm not a fan of burst fire weapons though. The Mad Lad SMG, 22 bullets a second as standard. Again, insane noise coming from this thing. Hellwalker is really good, infinite fire. The Hot Slugger does okay. It's not a fire rate weapon, but it's still pretty good. The Convergence got buffed for some reason. It's still really good. If you get Jacob's parts on it, insane for mobbing. Already good for mobbing even if you don't, but it's really, really good. Phantom Flame is one of my new favorite weapons. Again, infinite fire for 8 seconds. You just melt bosses as long as they are a flesh enemy. The Lucian's Coals, flanks even in this game, really, really good. Such a huge mag size, huge fire rate. You can get Jacob's critical hits as standard. Great for mobbing, great for bossing. The Wombo Combo, amazing splash damage, really good for vile enemies. It does a good amount of damage on single target enemies regardless. The Chuck AR is interesting. You don't actually fire this thing, it is only throwing TD or chucks non-stop, does a good amount of damage. And then the Rowan's Charge, also pretty damn good. Now, also actually, sorry, the 7th Sense, the Jacob's Pistol, also really good. Got a buff from its homing orb things. Basically, you shoot a bunch, and then as soon as you reload, the orbs just, boom, huge damage and melt the rest of the boss. Now, these two are your bossing weapons. You can boss with any of these weapons, and it'll do a pretty damn good job, I would say. But if you want the fastest melt times, it is the Bud Shotgun, which is actually every type of gun in the game. That is its special ability. It has Torg stickies on it. You fire this thing for 8 seconds, it's actually overkill. You only really need like 3 to 5 seconds. Every boss in this game will die. That's this gun. Now for the single strongest weapon in the build, it is called the Golden God. I found it via a Jolt's video the other day. Not sure if he's the one that found the interaction, but basically this thing is a bullet hose that will never run out of bullets. With the ammo regen we have in this build, you can hold trigger the entire time you have your action skill, which in mobbing can be multiple minutes, and this thing will fire non-stop, doing an insane amount of damage, and you'll have pinpoint accuracy from our skill tree to just mow down any mobbing situation, and bossing will melt any boss the fastest, and it's not close. I mean, I guess the bod is kind of close, but you have to actually wait for the stickies to proc, and then it will melt, whereas this thing will just melt them in real time. Again, if you guys enjoy these kinds of videos, drop a sub, it's much appreciated. I also stream making endgame builds on Twitch. I also have 2 other YouTube channels, one for Minecraft and one for a variety of challenges on a bunch of different games. All linked down below if you want to check out those. Other than that, have a fantastic day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, adios.